Hey guys, guess what? Richard Boone's son just came out and said, yeah, those old rumors about his dad's private life are true. Richard Boone was born Richard Allen Boone on June 18, 1917, right there in Los Angeles, California. Boone was the grandson of the famous frontiersman Daniel Boone. That family connection felt almost like a sign, because he grew up to play really tough, strong guys on screen. But getting into acting wasn't quick or easy for him at all. Boone went to Stanford University. He studied drama there and really got into books, big ideas like philosophy, and all kinds of art. Those things helped make his acting smart and deep later on. Before Hollywood called him, Boone served in World War II. He was a navigator in the U.S. Navy. He flew really risky combat missions over the Pacific. That time changed him a lot. It shaped how he saw the world. It gave his acting a real feeling of tiredness, truth, and serious moral stuff that no acting class could teach. Unlike a lot of actors who just pretended to be tough, Boone really got what tough guys were like. After the war, Boone got super serious about acting again. He studied with the famous Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio. There, he learned a strong, real way to act from the heart. It made him different from many other actors back then. Early on, he did tons of movies and TV shows. He usually played bad guys, soldiers, or strict bosses. He was tall, over 6 feet, with a deep, strong voice. Even in small parts, people couldn't forget him. Boone's big moment came in 1957. He got the role of Paladin in Have Gun, Will Travel. Paladin wasn't like normal cowboy heroes. He was smart and educated. He quoted Shakespeare. He charged a lot of money. He lived by his own rules of right and wrong. He wore black clothes and stayed at the fancy Carlton Hotel in San Francisco. Paladin was part wise thinker, part gunfighter. He liked talking things out more than fighting, but he fought when he had to for justice. Boone made the show way smarter than other westerns. He pushed for good stories, hard choices about right and wrong, and smart talk. He argued with the TV bosses who thought people didn't want deep stuff. Because of him, Have Gun, Will Travel got huge respect from critics. Grown-ups loved it as much as kids. It showed how much Boone cared about doing great work. After the show, Boone kept picking hard roles that let him show how good he was. He was in movies like Big Jake in 1971 with John Wayne, The Kremlin Letter in 1970, and The Tall T in 1957. In The Tall T, he played a scary bad guy, but you could see he was smart too, without going over the top. He was great as good guys or bad guys. He often made you wonder which one he really was. In the 1970s, Boone had success again on TV with Heck Ramsey. He played an old gunfighter who became a detective who used science and thinking. Just like with Paladin, he made a normal character into someone smart who changed and looked to the future. It showed how he always wanted to play guys who learned, asked questions, and grew. In the last cool part of his movie life, Richard Boone kept showing the deep strength and special presence that made him one of Hollywood's biggest stars. In 1974, he was in The Great Niagara. Then came Against a Crooked Sky in 1975. Those let him get even better at playing rough, tired-of-the-world guys who felt so real. Around then, Boone worked with John Wayne for the third time. He added his serious feel to Wayne's last movie, The Shootist, in 1976. That team-up felt extra sad. Boone was sick himself. He stood next to the older Wayne in a story about dying, what you leave behind, and the end of old cowboy movies. While still doing movies, Boone went back to where he started. In the mid-1970s, he went to New York City and the Neighborhood Playhouse, the famous school where he trained young. There, Boone became a teacher. He shared all his years of tough lessons with new actors. People said he was scary strong, but also super inspiring in class. His whole life on stage and screen, plus his big respect for acting hard work, made him that way. Boone's later movies showed he could do anything and people still loved him. In God's Gun in 1976, he acted with Leif Garrett, Lee Van Cleef, and Jack Palance. He jumped into the rough style of those Italian westerns. Then he did the fun fantasy The Last Dinosaur in 1977 and the cool remake of The Big Sleep in 1978. It proved he could change with new movie styles but keep his own special style. One of Boone's coolest late things wasn't even him on camera. It was his voice. In 1977, he did the deep, scary voice for the dragon Smaug in the cartoon version of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. His voice made the dragon feel smart, proud, and super dangerous. Fans still remember it after all these years. Boone's last movies were Winter Kills in 1979 and The Bushido Blade in 1979. Those ended his work with a quiet, strong feeling. Even when he got sicker, his acting still had that power and deep emotion from his whole career. Those final parts felt like a perfect goodbye. They ended an amazing life in acting. He left behind characters we can't forget, great stories, and a big mark on movies and TV in America. Richard Boone's real life was just as full and interesting as the tough guys he played. It had love, big changes, and strong family ties. He got married 3 times. Each one was like a different part of his long story. His first marriage was to Jane Hopper. It started in 1937 when Boone was young and figuring things out. It only lasted until 1940, but it happened when he was building dreams and feeling unsure. Almost 10 years later, Boone fell in love again with Mimi Kelly. Their marriage from 1949 to 1950 was short, but mattered. It came when Boone was getting really good at acting and close to his big break. Those first 2 marriages didn't last long, but they were part of the real guy behind the strong movie image, a man who was learning, changing, and looking for something steady in life and work. That steady thing came in 1951. Boone married Claire McAloon. She stayed his wife until he died. Their marriage lasted over 30 years. It was the strong base of his private world. With Claire, Boone made a real family life. It was calm and different from the wild, hard-choice guys he played. They had a son named Peter Boone. Peter tried acting a little, like his dad. As a kid, Peter was in some episodes of Have Gun, Will Travel. That was the famous Western that made Richard Boone a big TV star. Those times let people see Boone not only as a famous actor, but as a dad, too. He shared his world with his son. It connected his big work wins with his home life. For years, Richard Boone looked super strong on screen. His deep voice and intense eyes showed power, toughness, and complicated feelings about right and wrong. But behind all that fame and fans loving him, he had a secret fight. He kept it hidden most of his life. Only much later, his son told the honest, sad truth about what Boone was really going through. His son said the quiet rumors among friends were real. They were just small pieces of a bigger, very sad story. Richard Boone's son shared that his dad had a hidden life. It was full of constant pain, getting weaker, and deep emotional hurt from a terrible sickness that followed him for years. While Boone kept working and acting strong, his home life got taken over more and more by being sick. The sickness slowly took away his power and made him hurt all the time. Normal days became a fight against pain. People close to him saw that the guy everyone thought was so tough was really fighting a huge inside battle. He almost never let anyone see it. On top of the body pain, Boone had habits he couldn't stop or explain away easily. His son said yes, his dad smoked a lot of cigarettes and drank alcohol for many years. Those habits started way before his last months. They weren't just sometimes things. They were big habits that helped him feel better but also made things worse. In his last month, all the hurt from years of smoking and drinking showed up big time. It made him get worse, faster, and made his ending even sadder. The saddest part was how open Boone got with his family about not being able to stop. In one really honest talk, he told his son straight about being an alcoholic. He didn't try to make it sound cool or okay. "I drank until my throat burned, and it made me unable to drink anymore," he said. It wasn't bragging. It was him feeling desperate. Those words showed a man who knew he was hurting himself bad, but he couldn't stop. Boone didn't hide the damage to himself or the people who loved him. "I know it's harmful, but I can't control myself," he went on. His words showed he understood his problem clearly, and it hurt. "There's something wrong with me doing it, even with the help of my loved ones." Those words show how deep his fight was. Not just with drinking but feeling broken inside, which addiction does a lot. Even with family worrying, begging, and trying to help, Boone was stuck in a loop. He couldn't get out all the way or give up to it. Through what his son shared, Richard Boone looks like more than a famous actor. He's a real person who had flaws, hurt a lot, and was honest in his weak moments. His story isn't gossip or scandal. It's a quiet, sad one. A guy millions looked up to carried huge pain all alone. When we learn about Boone's private side, we see past the big star. We see what sickness and addiction cost, back when people didn't talk about it much. Richard Boone's last days showed quiet strength, body pain, and a feeling of things wrapping up. It matched how complicated his whole life was, on screen and off. He died on January 10, 1981. He was 63 years old. It happened at his home in St. Augustine, Florida. That ended the life of one of TV's strongest, smartest leading men. By then, Boone had been fighting throat cancer. That sickness hit extra hard for an actor whose voice was one of his best tools. His deep, strong, bossy voice was a big part of who he was on screen. Especially in Have Gun, Will Travel, where his slow talking and smart speeches made the Western more than just shooting. The cancer slowly took that away. Talking became painful and tiring. For a guy who used to own movie sets with his voice, losing it felt personal and really sad. Everyone pretty much agreed the cancer got worse because of years of smoking a ton of cigarettes. That was normal in Hollywood back then, and Boone never said he didn't do it. Smoking was part of the movie world in Boone's days. It mixed with long work, stress, and drinking with friends. As he got sicker, those old choices showed their bad side clearly. The cancer kept going strong. Even with doctors helping, it got worse. It caused bad problems that finally took his life. In his last months, Boone stayed home instead of the hospital. He spent his final time in calm quiet in St. Augustine, away from Hollywood lights. Florida gave him a peaceful place. He could think about his life, his family, and his work without movie people bothering him. People who were with him said he was weak in body but still sharp in his mind. He thought a lot and knew his time was almost up.